Welcome back to Let's Play Darkest Dungeon. I'm your host, Timepants, and today we resume our speedrun with our first medium dungeon run. So, I was not entirely convinced that this is the best. I'm still actually thinking about it. I like the idea of getting an All Saints Day, but crests are definitely needed. Actually, deeds are most what we need, but this sucks. I don't want to do another short one because I want better rewards and more experience, and obviously we don't get anything else for our trouble. So, we are going to, I think do this, planning for the eventual need of that debuff for some of the bosses, particularly in the Darkest Dungeon. So, here is our loadout for the day, and I feel pretty good. This is likely not going to come into play. I don't even know if eldritch stuff spawns in the estate. I think... Yeah, I want to say that the collector is in fact unholy. So probably this is a waste of a trinket slot. You know what? No sense taking it. Especially if somebody ends up, like if he ends up getting killed, I'm not anticipating that, but you never do. So, yeah, we'll just leave it, I guess. Maybe just 1, 2, 2. And somebody said in the comments, and I really appreciate this, by the way, that the... What was it? That the collector only shows up... that is still torpedo. That the collector only shows up in a situation where your party has, what was it, 65% of their items carried. And I guess I need a little bit more clarification on that. Like the inventory is 65% full. So I assume that equipment does not figure into this at all. And I think that's fair to assume, right? I might be able to get a kill. Actually, yeah, so 65% of your inventory is full. So yeah, like I said, I'm not smart enough to really completely understand the meaning there. So I want to make sure that I'm clear. So does 65% mean 65% of your overall capacity? Like, for instance, your torch stacks are... Like, how do I want to say this? So does a torch stack with only 1 torch in it and a torch stack of 8 in it, do those both count as... Do those both count as the same percentage towards the 65%? Or is this like, you know, if you have 65% of your total capacity taken care of, at that point, you can start facing the collector. Like, am I communicating this very well? I feel like I'm not. But yeah, basically, let's say everything was full up with gold. But for whatever reason, it was 25 gold, 25 gold, 25 gold. Like, we take the opportunity to be scummy. Does that distribution of gold, does simply having all of your equipment slots, or all of your inventory slots filled, is that the 65% we need to be concerned with? I don't know. And I'm going to get off this topic of conversation because it seems like I can't really articulate myself very well. I don't think we go scummier. That crit is actually fine. That actually reinforces my decision, or it would have if we had actually gotten squad out of it. Because if at this point we are at 60 or more than 65% and susceptible to ambush, well shit, I wish I would have known about that Like, that would certainly inform my decision for how I prepared for each run. I wouldn't get like one anti-venom, for instance, if I thought that that was going to significantly contribute to our 65%. So how do we want to do this? For a 95, or for exploring 90% of rooms, this is another oddity. Okay, I think we skirt the outside, but let's just pop into both sides here, and that should inform our decision. It informs my decision that there's nothing particularly wrong with going this way, other than, of course, well, I was going to say the encounter, but this makes it absolutely fine. That sucks. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna try and get a Stoon here. And hopefully, I am an idiot. I am the biggest idiot. Well, in anticipation of this being the most horrendous round ever, God bless America. I guess turnabout is fair play, but man, okay. That was really stupid, and he could still go, yeah. Not at all unexpected, so was that a misplay? It absolutely was. We're getting really lucky on our dodges, but this is, I mean, that's embarrassing. That truly, truly shames me. That, I mean, it, in the end, is going to be fairly minor. I don't think bleed out is really what we want. But you know what? You only YOLO once. And that's fine. I mean, one bleed is certainly manageable, and at this point, we'll just take the opportunity to get some healing. Beautiful. So, somebody mentioned, and I feel like I should address this because, well, I'm the only one here. Somebody mentioned, like, geez, Timepants, like, you're going in a little hard on, like, the people that did the journal entries for Darkest Dungeon, like the people who contributed to the Kickstarter at a sufficient level to be given the opportunity to write some of the in-game text. And after somebody in the comments said that, then one of my friends who watched an episode said that too. And it occurred to me that maybe I probably should lighten up a little bit and at least kind of explain what's so off-putting to me about it. I'm not trying to justify or excuse being, honestly, kind of a D-bag. But, yeah, what kind of bothers me about it is I feel like... Well, let me first preface this by being as positive as possible. We're going to need to make room. No time like the present. Alright, yeah, so let me preface this by being as positive as possible. Red Hook has done an amazing job with this game. And one of the most impressive things, I think, is the degree to which they have really engaged their community. Like, people fucking love Darkest Dungeon, and I mean, they were really excited about it from Jump Street, you know, like, as soon as the concept was, like, came out and the Kickstarter hit the ground running, I mean, people were in, they were invested, and why not? It's a really, really cool idea. Well, I mean, it's a really cool idea, but I mean, Red Hook has gone above and beyond. Their Twitter account is constantly just promoting people within the community. They are, yeah, they're showing off people's like fan artwork. They're showing off like speed runs. When the game first came out, especially like, and it was still in early access, they did an amazing job giving people who were doing like streams of the game a platform to, you know, really be heard and show off the game for them, show off the content creators, and it was, yeah, a nice symbiotic relationship, and it was, I think, I think a masterclass in how you would run community, like run a Kickstarter campaign from start to finish and make sure that your community feels appreciated. It was a fantastic job. But, and, you know, Red Hook is not alone in this sort of, I don't want to say behavior, but in this sort of incentivizing of Kickstarter donations by allowing people to create content for the game. And I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with turning to your community and asking them for ideas. I really don't. I think it's awesome. Like, during early access, not to toot my own horn or anything, but I did catch a couple of bugs. Like, for instance, guard was still effective even though like the character providing the guard was stunned. And I was like, hey, is that intentional? And they're like, we're going to look into it. And they fixed it in the next patch. And there was another glitch where, like, if you walked past certain curios and tried to backtrack to them, you couldn't interact with them. Again, that was shit. That was something that they did not have to do, or, you know, they could have just taken the feedback and said nothing. But they actually were like, you know, going back and forth, and how did this happen? I showed them the video. Of course, they were duly impressed and offered me a job. I told them, you know, I'm already employed. Half of that is true. But yeah, when it comes to engaging your community, there's a delicate touch that must be used. So once you start selling the ability to, like, have a hand in the game to the highest bidder, I mean, I'm not gonna say it's ruined the game. No, obviously not. And I mean, the perfectly valid counterpoint to everything that I'm saying is, well, you don't have to, like, pick it up. You don't have to use it or interact with it or even acknowledge its existence. You can just leave it every time you find a journal. Absolutely true. And you know what? If I were perhaps a better person, maybe that's exactly what I would do. But I can't leave well enough alone. No. I do it, you know, for the sake of completeness and showing off the game as much in its entirety as I'm able. Humble me.
This expedition at least promises success.
But yeah, it has a couple of major problems with it that I see. First off, it creates a tonally dissonant experience. And what do I mean by that? Well, Darkest Dungeon has a very, very unique and very specific and very engaging voice. And when you start, when you start allowing people who are not attached to the project creatively from Jump Street. I think we just... You basically have imitators, and fans are very, very poor at, generally speaking, of course there are exceptions, but fans are very, very poor at truly putting their finger on what makes the thing that they are fans of good. And I say that knowing full well that that's the case for me as well. Like, one of my favorite books growing up was The Phantom Tollbooth. And you would think that somebody who's read the book like 5 times would be an excellent candidate for making like a sequel, for instance. But that tends not to be the case. What you end up with when you open the door for fans to start creating your content is basically just a pale imitation of the original product. People sort of focus on what they liked the best, and they really try and cram that in everywhere that they possibly can, not realizing that a lot of what makes the parts they like so good is everything else that's kind of filling in the cracks. So I think I should just use this. So what you end up with is basically a caricature of the original product. And I think that is the case with a lot of the journal entries, because it's sort of this broad imitation of the ancestors' style, which is not interesting. Like, the people who created the character of the ancestor had a particular vision and a voice for him. And as, like, the content creator, they have a very clear idea for how they want this character to speak. Every word is weighed and measured and given incredible care. You can only use it in battle. Okay. I mean, everything that you read has gone through several editing passes. It has a team looking at it. Whereas with a journal page, you have one person who is just trying to crib a style. My fears are confirmed. With our torch doused by an errant spray of seawater, we were ambushed. Strange fish-like hominids ambushed us in the sudden darkness. The pitch of the torch caught quickly as I glimpsed scaly appendages swinging crude weapons, glistening and barbed. They didn't last long with our torch rekindled. Alas, one bit me on the neck before I gutted it. The wound stings and tingles strangely. Our physic told me to keep it clean and covered. A little bit of editing would have really helped here. Like, ambushed is reused constantly. Like, scaly appendages swinging crude weapons is like purple as all heck. And I'm sorry. There's no need for this. But see me after class. But anyway, that's my own particular beef with it. Is basically that, a lot of original intent is lost. It sort of undermines the creator's intent, and it kills immersion, because once you pick up a journal, you're like, oh, here's something that somebody who contributed to the Kickstarter wrote as a reward. It doesn't feel organic the way the rest of the game does. And like I said, it kind of compromises the overall vision. Now, I'm probably overblowing it a little bit, but I think there's a lot of value in the creative process, and It just feels like it's somewhat diminished when it's just kind of sold as a prize. Like, for instance, an editor doesn't rewrite somebody's page. Like, how weird would it be if, like, okay, these are obviously not the best examples, but how weird would it be if, like, Ernest Hemingway just handed off a page to somebody and, you know, just a fan of Hemingway wrote... Yeah, just one of Hemingway's fans wrote one of the sections of Farewell to Arms. It would be weird, right? And you'd immediately know. When there's somebody who's really captured the voice and distinct style of their character, it is immediately and abundantly clear when somebody else is just trying to crib that. So, anyway, that's my 2 cents. I probably take video games way too seriously. Like, am I really mad about it? No. But I think I am maybe more disappointed than the average person that this has kind of found its way into the Kickstarter culture, so to speak. That said, and, you know, if given my choice between, you know, Darkest Dungeon with journals in it and a game where, or a world where games like Darkest Dungeon could not exist because, you know, there's crowdfunding just was not a possibility, of course, I'd take this 100 times out of 10. So, basically, I'm a whiny little baby, and I take games way too seriously, and I'm sorry for kind of being an off-putting jerk about it. That said, the run, wow, finished. Or is it? You know what? Let's double back. I'm feeling lucky. And yeah, let's see if we can get one more. We've got ample food for the journey. I don't foresee... I mean, this could be the collector. Fortunately, it was not. But yeah, we have ample food for the journey. If we get in a situation where somebody ends up getting, like, way too stressed out... Then, yeah, we might reconsider. But for now, I think that this is fine. Unfortunately, we are going to take a ton of damo on this round and probably give up, yeah, a bit more stress than we'd really likely be comfortable with. Hopefully, we get the stun here. Okay. With that stun, I feel like we can be pretty... I think we can be pretty happy with the situation. We've got a kill. This guy's dead. If we can get a stun here, we're in fantastic shape. I think I'm going to try it. And if I can be a scumbag, I will. Please? I asked very nicely. That is bullshit. You know, I've never really used Bleed Out, but I'm kind of a fan. More stress. Wonderful. I'm kind of a fan. Like, I kind of feel like, gosh, what have I been missing this whole time? That's a really, really good skill. Yeah, I think we will continue to press our luck. I will try Stunning Blow, though, because this stun means we win, and we can spend all the rest of our time just scumming it up, getting everybody back into fantastic shape, and we'll be ready to head out and maybe even tackle the boss. Because, yeah, with this, I do think we will be
throttled blade.
Yeah, with this, I think we'll be pretty well set. I think I'm going to go back on what I said. Just take the money and run. Oh. Right. All in all, really good episode. Didn't mean to go so heavy on, like, the weird, awkward, like, pseudo-apology. But yeah, that was a really solid run. And again, I want to give super big props to Red Hook, and of course for everybody who like donated to make Darkest Dungeon possible. Like, thank you. This game's awesome. All right, so with that, someone is getting a free weapon upgrade, but who will it be? Find out next time.